Thank you, Raja. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present our nonprofit foundation, Saara Arts. And hello all, I hope all of you are doing well today and safe and healthy. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll talk through my presentation. And afterwards, as Raja said, we will open up for any questions that you may have. So I hope I'm doing this well. So I had opened it up in my desktop. So if I share, you should be able to see it, right? Okay, great. I hope you can all see my presentation. So I started Saara Arts, a nonprofit, in 2017. I've always had a passion for arts and wanted to share art from around the world in the Lehigh Valley. So I had been doing small events with the Allentown Art Museum and other cultural organizations in Allentown to bring dance, music, visual arts, all sorts of arts. So what we do specialize in Saara Arts is art education. That's the big thing. So really, Saara stands for sharing art across regions. As you know, I come from India, and there is so much in India that I'm learning and I'd love to bring to the Lehigh Valley. Eventually, my goal is to actually share art from around the world. But I've decided to start with India because I'm closest and I know at least the best there. So since 2017, we have done a few events. The big one has been India Heritage Day. So we had our first India Heritage Day in 2018, and I will show you some pictures of that. We also do art events, as I've mentioned before, teaching different styles of art, dance, music, and even any types of arts. It could be culinary arts, yoga, all this fall under the broad spectrum of art. As I'd mentioned before, we collaborate with the Allentown Art Museum, the Cultural Coalition of Allentown, Lafayette in Easton. So we've been very happy and glad to get support from the folks here to help me continue to do what I like to do. So I am going to speak a little bit about India Heritage Day. We started it in 2018 in the Allentown Arts Park. I think most of you may know that beautiful park that we have there. And we chose a day in August, I think it was a Saturday, to do our first event. And it was a great success. I'll show you some pictures. The idea was to transform the park into a little India, to have people enter and feel you're somewhere else. And so as you can see, we had lovely decorations and food and vendors to go with this. So I'll show you some examples. Last year, we had Susan Wild, Congresswoman Susan Wild, come in and she spoke. She opened the event. What we did is at the beginning, we had a big lamp and we had Susan Wild and Mayor Ray O'Connell come and light the lamp to start the festivities. So we had close to 500 people the first year and around 700 people the second year. It was completely free for everyone to come in and enjoy. Here is Mayor Ray O'Connell lighting the inaugural lamp for the show. So this was an opportunity for local artists to come and show their work and for us to support local artists as well. So many of the artists who came to this show to present were doing it for the first time. They had never even thought of presenting their work. They didn't know what was involved in it. We made it easy for them. So this was nice that we were able to support our local artists and encourage them to present. We had a lot of fabrics, as you can see. Everything was related to art. It had to be original art, handmade art, things that not just, machine made and just for the sake of selling, but very artistic. So we had a lot of dances. People came in and they just started dancing, and a lot of we taught dance to a lot of people who didn't know Indian dance. So it was a very nice and happy affair that we had for those 2 years. As you can see, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of children come in. Again, we want to support our children and give them an opportunity to display their art. So you can see a lot of dancing. We had amazing food that was made by the local restaurants. So it was a great success overall and very happy to do. Okay, I think I'm missing one flyer here, but I just wanted to give you an example of other events that we did. We had Holi. I don't know if many of you know Holi. It's a festival of color in the spring where we sprinkle color on each other. We do dance, we do music. So I'll be doing this with the art museum. So here's a flyer, and we also had a tribal art event. I think it was last year, and that's what this flyer was supposed to show, where we got indigenous work from the villages of India, and we chose one state in India, and we did everything we could about that state. We showed the food, we showed the art, we showed music, dance, and it again was a very beautiful affair. We taught art related to that region. We were featured in many different places promotionally for this event. So it was again a great success and very heartening because I was able to help the artists in the villages of India, as well as bring local artists here to come and display their work, which is what our aim is. I wanted to give you an idea of all the media spotlight that we have been getting. A lot of coverage in the morning call, in WFMZ. We have gone live on WFMZ many times before our events to give a preview of our events. Here, this picture, if you see, it's a picture of the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. I was very excited that last year, after we completed our India Heritage Day, the news spread to the Indian Consulate of America. And through him, he gave me a special invitation to visit the Prime Minister of India. The Prime Minister of India was visiting Texas in September, and I got a special invitation to sit and watch his speech right in the first row, as well as have lunch with him. So that was amazing. So I could speak about what we have been doing and what we are doing to help people outside of the US who do beautiful art, as well as the people here, and encourage local artists. So that was a great honor that I had to meet the Prime Minister. So going to the next project. So we had, and as Raja has said, we had an event that was coming up on May 16th to showcase a different state in India, the state of West Bengal. The state of West Bengal is known for its artistic inclinations. So we had an event planned to display the art, music, culture, art from the villages of West Bengal. But, and we were going to do it at the Center of Innovation, as Raja had mentioned. But, because of the situation that we are in, we had to cancel it. But, I started thinking and speaking to the Bengal community, and we all still wanted to do it. And we do want to do it. So what we decided is to get it through Zoom. So please mark your calendars, all of you. We have this event coming up on May 30th. A Saturday from 6 to 8:30. It will be on Zoom, but we hope it'll be like you are there live. It's going to be amazing. A lot of talent coming there to show cooking, drawing classes, craft class, music, dance, a lot of different things. That'll be very easy to watch, and it won't be long and boring, but it'll be very fast and very interesting. So stay tuned, and I hope you will be able to join us through Zoom. And any sponsorships and donations we're requesting through this, the proceeds will go to COVID relief in Lehigh Valley. It is for the frontline workers who are impacted, and we plan to give any donations to that fund. So I appreciate all of you sharing this with all your contacts and joining us in this event. I wanted to speak a little bit about some of our upcoming projects. I mentioned the art event that is coming on May 30th. I have a website, and that is on my first page. I have this presentation, Raja, if you want to send it out to everyone, but there is a website address that we have, and I've just introduced an e-shop where, as I mentioned, we get art from the villages of India, which is completely handmade, and we are helping the villages in India. So I have actually made the e-shop live, so you can go in and check it out to see all the different beautiful art objects that are for sale. We had planned our third annual India Heritage Day on August 16, but unfortunately we won't be able to do it in the Arts Park. But again, we want to do it via Zoom, and we want to make it fun and interesting for everyone. So stay tuned for more information on that. And if these Zoom events are successful, we do want to continue having art events based on many different countries. You know, there's Mexico, there's China, there's so much that we can bring art from. So we do want to continue this. You know, whatever the situation is outside, we want to be safe, but either virtually or in person, we plan to continue what we do. So to move forward, you know, I always have to say this, we're a nonprofit, and it's difficult to move forward without sponsorships. So we have been lucky to get sponsorships from the Art Museum, the CCA, the Hindu Temple, Lafayette. But, you know, in this time, things are difficult, I know, and we are hoping whoever is able to give will give, so that we can continue this event. So, you know, there are still costs for promotions, for getting artists and reimbursing them. So there are a lot of costs involved, and we appreciate donations and sponsorships to make this happen. And we need volunteers to join our team. It's really myself and one or two of my friends who are helping me do this, but as things get more busier, I really appreciate the need of volunteers to join our team. That's all I had. I hope I wasn't too long.
Oh, your timing was perfect.
Great.
Vindya, right spot on, about close to 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to go over some questions that's going to come here in the chat, but I can get started with a few questions for you. So right now, you are registered as a nonprofit, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about it? Is it a 501c3?
Yeah, it's a 501(c)(3). I have all the paperwork for its registration. I have a website, and as I mentioned, I have an e-shop now that is live. So yes, we are a formal functioning organization. And we have a small board that we are developing, and we do have meetings. It's a very small board. It is difficult to find people. People are busy, and that's why I'm here to also increase my board with interested folks who want to help me move this forward.
How big is your board right now?
It's, I would say 2 people.
Okay.
It is very small.
Okay. Well, actually, there is an advantage of having a small board.
That's true.
I think you can sometimes, you know, get things done more quickly in a small board than a large board. How do you fund yourself? So I see that, you know, you've got e-shops and other activities that you do, right? So what are your critical sources of revenue? So
the India Heritage Day was a big source of revenue. I was very successful in getting donations and sponsorships for 2 years. As I mentioned, the Allentown Art Museum, the CCA, Lafayette University, they were, I mean, you know, combined with their donations, I was able to build some kind of an account balance, do a website, to do an e-shop, and to get art from the villages of India, because there is a cost to going to these villages and getting art. But, you know, it stands still. I need this to go on. Right now, we're in this virtual environment, and it's difficult. So what I have is coming down. And so I'm very glad that you gave me this opportunity to speak, because, you know, we do encourage local artists as well as global artists, and we need some help to move forward.
Yeah. I have got a request here for you to share your contact information. So one thing that you're more than welcome to do is you can put your contact information in the chat, and everybody can get that. We do send the video out. And yes, I mean, your presentation, you know, everyone will have access to it. We just send the recording to all the participants. That way they can they can have access to it.
Okay, I'll add it to the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, any questions from the audience for Vindya? I've got a couple of other questions for her, but does anyone want to ask her anything specific? Now, regarding your selling of the art, right? So you are primarily selling that through your eShop right now, or also through the functions?
Both. So the eShop just went live, but through the functions. And truthfully saying, the art that I have, it's not going to be a big revenue generator for me. It's just to share. Again, it's all about art education and sharing the art. It's 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 not that expensive. So what I meant to say is, it's good to, I want to share and I want to bring it from the villages, but I'm not able to mark it up that much more than, there's a thing. So I don't think my revenue will be based on that. It's mainly on donations and sponsorships that we do work. But yes, I do plan to exhibit them in our virtual events as well as through the eShop.
How do you reach them? How do artists find you? I'm assuming that that's their supply line, right? They have to
Right.
reach you, or I mean, you have to have access to them for you to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have found that it's amazing, because when I did my first India Heritage Day, I didn't know many artists at all. And so it helped through the promotions. So I do invest a small budget on promotions. I work with a firm that helps me push it out, make attractive flyers and graphics. So I found, as I promoted this, people contacted me. They found out about it. And through them, it was word of mouth that I got people. But a lot of people actually contacted me because of the promotions we did via the museum, via the CCA, as well as just, sticking things on the walls, as well as sending things through media, social media, as well as, I went on WFMC. That was very helpful. I was on WFMC, and every time I went there, we had at least 15 people who contacted and, gave me more contacts and actually visited the show. So I think the promotions helped a lot.
That's great. There's a question here for your May 30th event, the one that you are going to have through Zoom. Some of the audience would like your link.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I'll send it.
So
my link is in the flyer, so I'll just send the flyer in the chat.
If you want to send us the flyer, we'll make sure that at least the folks that are participating in this session can get that.
And how would I do that? Would I put that in the chat? Can I attach?
Yeah, well, you can do it both. You can send me a copy of that.
Okay.
And I will include that flyer when I send the link of the video. That might be so that way they can also have a large flyer with them.
Sure.
What about so there's a question from Gary here, and that is, would you consider doing classes or workshops to build alternative stream of revenue?
I would love to. I would love to do it. And that's one of the goals that we have. It's one of the things we really want to do, is bring art techniques from around the world and have classes. Originally, when things were better and we were going out, I almost wanted to rent a facility and have ongoing art classes. But Zoom works well too. And as in our event, even on May 30th, we're going to even just a 10-minute class, but we're going to have a class on teaching a West Bengal art form, as well as we're going to have a craft class where we're going to teach embroidery of a kantha stitch, which is a special stitch that is done in Bengal. So it's going to be a little bit in the event, but I would love to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And this also, the next question also ties to, to your revenue. And I just think that, as a nonprofit, you got to sustain yourself, right? I mean,
yeah.
You got to have a sustainable model. So the question from Girish is that besides your events, dances, and education, are there other things that you're thinking about from a revenue standpoint that is going to be sustaining over time?
It's difficult. The classes were something definitely I was thinking about. That would be a constant stream. But even for the classes, I need some kind of a ground up, something to invest, maybe in a small studio, because eventually I even have to reimburse the artists. that I get. I would be contacting artists and having them. So it's almost like a, what comes first kind of thing. I want to get artists, I want to have classes, but I should be able to pay them. I should be able to, some people are willing to do it as a volunteer basis, but I cannot accept, that they will do that all the time.
So, one suggestion, I mean, that I have for you is that you mentioned eShop on your presentation. That might be something that you may really want to look at and see how you can expand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading a news lately, and one company that is actually doing well right now is Etsy. And if you look at Etsy, they are really targeted to that market where artists sell their craft, right? You may want to take a look at their model and
Okay.
see, what they are doing, because they're doing pretty well. And I also see some of their ads, running in TV. So, it might not be a bad, it might not hurt you to look at your model and see, are there certain things that, you can focus on that you can take from them.
Right.
Being in this
Right.
business is not a bad idea, right? If something
True.
is working, then
True.
why not also, copy that model? So you may want to think about that.
Okay, will do.
A question from Tony. So what about, is there a way for you to also drive in revenue through, let's say, performers, dance classes, and things like that?
I think so. I think there is a huge, because there is an interest in learning dance and art and, crafts, all that. So I have to think how to do this. Right now it has to be through Zoom, because that's what, until I don't know when things will get better. So it would be through Zoom. And I know people are doing dance, music, art through Zoom. So maybe there's a way to set up classes, get some artists, and initially, I would pay them from my whatever I have, and hopefully with the classes and the revenue coming in, it would be self-serving. So it's a thought that I've been thinking about it, just like a thing, not really making it concrete,
Right.
but it could be. Maybe I should give some thought to that in a more serious way.
That might be, it'll be something, there'll be something different.
Yeah,
There
right.
might be some opportunities there. You never
Yeah,
know.
and keep it periodic and ongoing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you may also want to look at Northampton for that. I know that Northampton, you can, for non-credit activity, you can offer dance classes.
Okay.
It might be something for you to,
Mhm.
consider. We
Okay.
can certainly
Sure.
put you in touch with the right, people.
Okay. That'll be great.
Yeah. What about, there's another question here. What about your connection to the local artists in the Lehigh Valley? How are you reaching out to them?
So right now it is word of mouth. And I have, for example, this art event that we're doing for West Bengal. I didn't really know anybody from that part of the state. I knew one person, but that one person was very good, and she let people know. She went to the community. So I think I have a broad base of connections, but basically I tap into the right person, and they really take it on. For example, this one person, she communicated to her community. They were so interested. So I got so much information. She set up a group, and I started speaking with them, and I didn't have to work hard, really. There are so many artists out there who want to come and show their art. And so I found that has not been a difficult part of what I do. Somehow it's there. It's just that one person getting to another, and boom, there's this interest that comes in.
Good. And there are a lot of good comments and feedbacks for you on the chat session here.
Okay. I'll
So
take a
we
look.
send you a recording of that. You may want to refer to that chat session. There are some really good suggestions there. Rita, she has a question and a suggestion too. When we talk about dance, she's asking that one way you may want to take a look at it is, building some existing relationship with the yoga studios, right? They've got space, and you don't have to rent the space. You may have to pay them something for using it, but that might
That's a good idea.
be an avenue that you may want to take a look at. And then Sam he wants you to contact him if you want to learn about how to really increase your membership and visibility through Zoom.
Okay.
So you see,
I'd love to.
he has put his contact information there. So
Okay,
that might
great.
be
Thank you.
that might be something worth pursuing. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
great.
looking at Girish has another suggestion for you here. Reaching out to Crayola for sponsorship. I don't know if you have
I
done that.
did that. Yes, I have, I didn't mention, but I have a person who used to be an editor on the Morning Call and recently retired, and she helps me with grant writing.
Yeah.
So she's been amazing, and we have written everywhere. Yeah, we do that, constantly looking for grants.
Do you have, so how do you, can you share with us who has been some of your major sponsors over the years?
Yes, so the Cultural Coalition of Allentown, they go along with Upside Allentown. So they have been a great supporter and a funder. Allentown Art Museum, again, a great supporter and a funder. The Lafayette University, just this year, they have funded me for our India Heritage Day that was going to happen this year, but she has been kind enough to keep her funding if we do it through Zoom. So I'm very grateful to that. Our Hindu Temple Society in Allentown has been a great supporter and a funder. These are my main sources of funding. I get small donations here and there, but they have been the sustaining forces for me. The mayor, Ray O'Connell, has been very supportive. I've gone and spoken to him many times. He has suggested many resources that I should try. Like, it's not restricted, to any religion. This is not a religion-based organization. It's an art-based organization. So that I go to the, churches, I go to the mosque, I go anywhere. And I've been doing that, but it's slow. It's not easy. It's not easy to get funding. I'd love to have one sponsor that's there, that's sustaining me to do things every year. There's so much I can do. It's just, finding that source of constant stream.
What about the medical community in the Lehigh Valley? I mean, you've got a large concentration of Indian physicians here.
I did try, and they have an organization called API. It's a nonprofit, but they have been able to help me. And I should mention their name too. They have been a source of income. Whatever they can give, they have been giving, but they have been a source of income for me as well. Yeah.
Emily has a great suggestion for you. Something for you may want to consider. Also as a part of your revenue stream, consider also providing some cooking classes.
Yeah, that's on the plan. And on May 30th, the event, we have a small culinary segment. These are just snippets, but we do have it, and it's part of the arts. Cooking is an art. So yes, that's things that we do.
Okay. And then since you mentioned the board at the beginning and you're looking for new members, Ben White, one of our participants, I believe Ben has an accounting background. He has a question for you. Do you need a treasurer for your board?
Yes, you just took the words off. I was just going to say, I need a treasurer. And I've been looking for one for 2 years. I need a dedicated treasurer I really need one.
Yeah. Ben, is that something that you'll consider?
I wish.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, very much. I'll send my contact information. You can pass it along to her.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'd love to look at it and we could speak. Yes.
Sure. Love to help you.
Thanks.
Chris also mentioned here regarding the Moravian Academy, their fall festival every year. That might be something that you may want to consider.
Yes, they have, my kids go to Moravian, my 3 children. So I've been working with them and planning to work with them to probably have a stall there or a table in their October fair. Yeah.
Okay. The next question from Rita is related to publicity. What about Channel 39? Do they know, have you done any publicity with them or any kind of marketing?
Somehow my touch has been with WFMZ, but if anyone has a contact there, I'd love to speak with them and even publicize my event coming up on the 30th.
Yeah, and I think that's what she was referring to, Rita, was that there might be, that might be an avenue that you might want to reach out to.
If there's a name that someone has, like I usually see that if I contact a person, I get more response than just, sending something.
Okay. And Ben has just shared his information with you on the screen.
I see that. Thank you. Thank you.
You'll get that. Any other question for Vindya? So one question that somebody had a question. So one question that we asked at the end of the presentation, Vindya, is that, so, and I think you've answered a lot of those, but let's revisit this. And so how can we as a community support and help you, right? So what are those, we can't do everything, but what are one or two things that that we can be of help to you?
First, giving me this opportunity has been a huge help. It's great that you have taken the time to, hear what I have to say and show interest. So that, number one, is a huge help by itself. I continue to look for sponsors, and any, and we do promote our sponsors. I want to say we have a lot of reach. We get a lot of people for our program. There's a lot of interest. So by sponsoring, we do a lot of media to promote our sponsors. And we did that for India Heritage Day sponsors. We did huge banners. We send them out on media. So we try to help our sponsors. So ideally, if anybody is interested in sponsoring, we would be extremely grateful. And number three is to really build my board, because I feel I'm doing things by myself and I don't want to. I want to have a board that will give me great ideas and that we can move forward. So as I said, we have had boards for 2 years. People come and go, but I do want that dedicated, interested people who are interested in arts and art education that will help me move this, because I think if I have a good board, I can sustain this to move forward. So those are the three things.
Wonderful. And I'm pretty sure that, you'll get a lot of response, to your request, especially with the board. I'm pretty sure. I know that there are some really good people that participate on our call.
I look forward to meeting
everyone is more, they'll reach out to you, and they'll love to be part of, what you're doing.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I will add my information to the chat.
Yep.
I will send you my presentation and flyer and anything else that you need.
That's great. So we've got about 20 minutes left here. So here's what I have, what I did for today. We've been having this discussion. We've been spending about 20 minutes or so talking about general things of what all is happening right now. And I wanted to share something with you, and let me see if I can, there we go, and see if we can, and then, by the way, this is an open discussion. I'm not going to moderate it. So if you want to have something to contribute, something to say, just let us know, and you can jump right in. I was going through our chat sessions for the last 2 weeks or so, and I was looking at what kind of questions, what kind of suggestions that people were giving, and what was a lot of concern out there, right? So one major concern right now, due to the situation that we are in, is, let me see if I can move to my next slide here, is this notion of, as a small business, what do you do to prepare yourself? Let's say what a 90-day contingency plan should include. And my suggestion is that I would like for you also think about, forget about COVID-19. I think, it has certainly brought a lot of things to perspective, but moving beyond this, I think, as a small business, or even a medium-sized business, or even as a startup, you really should have this plan in place, whether we are going through a good situation or a bad situation. So my question to all of you is, so what does a 90-day contingency plan should include, right? And I know that there are also, there are some participants in this call today that are small business owners, and you are doing something very specific that probably has worked, and you may want to share with that. So that's my question to the audience, and I'm gonna stay quiet here. So who wants to start the discussion?
Hey, Raj, it's Ben. I'll start.
Yeah.
I think for most small business owners, the first thing you look at is your cash position. And you want to see, where do you stand at at the end of COVID? If that's your, is that our starting point, post-COVID? You want to look at what is your cash position? And then you revisit what was your source of revenue, and your employees. You can look at those three key things and how do you get your sales and your people back on staff and start developing business and then monitor your cash very closely.
So one thing that I would recommend, Ben, as some of the suggestions that you have given, why don't you also put that on the chat, right? So we'll have there's a recording of that, so folks can find that valuable. Great. Who wants to go next?
One of the next things I think that what I've been coaching people to do all along through this is never stop communicating with your employees and your customers, and keep marketing. People have a tendency to say, oh my gosh, we got to stop. You must keep marketing so that when you come back, your comeback's bigger than your setback. So that's what I say. Keep communicating. Do not stop communicating.
I want to underscore what Sam said. That's the main problem I have with my clients, who are all small business owners, is the communication. I know they're frustrated, but even, for example, a hair salon that just can't open up yet, they can't. But for them to say, this is what we're doing this time. We're going through training, we're upping our game, but we're also going through specialized training as to how to protect not only our team, but our clients when we can open. And here are some of the steps we're taking. It's communication, no matter what your small business is. It's continuous communication with your existing clients and your mailing list as a whole, your public on social media. It's about communication. Here we are, we're still active. This is what we're doing, and this is how we look to move forward. And here's how you can get involved. So these are all important things. I can't speak to planning from a financial perspective because marketing and public relations is my own area of expertise, but also talk to your team constantly. Let your team know what you're doing for them. How you're helping them continue with their training or finding ways to help finance their lives while they have no income. So it's both external and internal communication.
Okay. Anybody else wants to?
The other thing is, you got the downtime right now. Take the time to create systems so that you can maximize the sudden upswing in business. You don't want to let anything get away. I know I have people all over the country that I'm in contact with, and the ones that are opening, like they're just frantically trying to keep in charge of get in front of what they're doing business-wise, and they didn't set up systems. So the ones that did are maximizing it, getting all the opportunities. The ones that haven't are not getting. So I'll type that in.
Yeah.
Raj, I think the other thing you should do is set up some key targets that you want to accomplish every week in terms of number of contacts you want to make, how many emails do you want to send out, how do you want to communicate to your customers so that you can actually measure how are you progressing with that every week. Otherwise, your 90 days will evaporate and you really won't know where you're at.
I've got a question for some of our small business owners that are in the call here. Are you guys doing something very specific as a part of this plan? Do you want to share that?
So it's Kelly with Chocolate Works. So, it's interesting because intellectually you say you want to handle your business like you do your personal life, right? You have an emergency fund that will take you to X and do the things. Capital isn't always there in that same way. You have to build into it. I think the learnings for us based on this is that one, we're scrappy, and two, how can we alleviate some of that stress? The recommendations that Rita and Ben and Sam have made are all things that we practiced. We started communicating with our customers before the shutdown of the things that we were doing from a safety standpoint. We started talking to our team about the realities of what could happen. And then we let them know that we were going for the PPP loan. Our goal was to get them back to work as quickly as possible. But the reality of, not having planned for something like this, and I don't know that you could have, and how capital works in a small business and revenue, where you're taking in money to sustain you for the slower time periods based on the peaks and valleys of your business, were certainly a challenge. Now, that said, we have absolutely used this time to kind of build the coffers to sustain us for as long as we need to. So, and we're looking at where we want to invest to reduce our dependencies on certain vendors and stuff, so that we can keep offering the same level of services that we do, where we don't have to have a reliance or spend the extra money in using those vendors.
Thank you, Kelly. That's great. Anybody
I
else?
also want to add something. When we all heard Kelly's presentation last week about how she's scrambled to provide chocolate treats when all of a sudden everything changed, the one thing that we can learn from her is that she kept all her outward messaging positive. So when you're communicating, don't go through the woe is me or things are terrible. Talk to your team that way and be honest, but your public facing messaging should be all 100% positive. Not, oh, we can't sell chocolate. It's, hey, we have these new chocolate kits, right, Kelly?
Yep.
I mean, you were so successful at that. And so why can't we all do that? Why can't we all outwardly face with positive messaging? Because nobody wants to hang around with a whiner. And nobody wants to do business with somebody that's talking about why things are terrible. You talk about what you're doing to train and what you're looking forward to, and how you're pivoting, and keep that energy positive.
Rita, I agree with you. The mindset. I mean, on my LinkedIn articles, I usually have this thing that says, "What would you not do if you knew you couldn't fail?" I mean, just keep that mindset that you can't fail and just go after it. I mean, you have to. That's the only choice.
Yeah. Anybody
Here's
else?
a resource that some of our small business owners may want to tap into as a starter. Something to get their thought process going. It's a series of e-guides published on score.org that talk about the action plan for restarting or coming back into business. And it's been broken down into several categories. We talk about an action plan for professional business services, for those in travel and tourism, for spas, for daycare centers, for pet care, all individually packaged. So it's a generic solution. I grant you that. However, it's a thought process that can trigger other ideas from you, from your associates, from your clients. So please go ahead and use that resource, or at least give it a look. It may ring a bell somewhere with you. But there's at least 12 or 15 different types of small businesses, including retail and nonprofits, that are mentioned in there. And each one has its own separate kind of broad outline of an action plan, which you need to then make special for your situation.
Girish, I think that's an amazing resource, because I think one of the biggest challenges for many small business owners is the overwhelming process of trying to get your thoughts together. So providing a basic framework that you can kind of plug and go and add your business into, I think is super helpful. So thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, Roger, I think, can I talk? Am I good?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a time, especially like small business owners or the employees, should take the time to get their own personal financial plan in order. And the reason why is a lot of times you find out by doing that, a lot of money each month goes out the back door that people don't realize. And a lot of times cash is, people violate rule 1, always pay yourself first. But in times like this, if there's ever a time to get your own personal finances in order, now's the correct time to be able to do that.
Okay. Any other feedback? Anybody else wants to share what they are doing, something specific?
Yeah, if I could, Raja. Good morning, everybody. It's Connor from Reset Outdoors, and I am not a marketing expert at all, which I think is probably abundantly clear if anybody's looking at social media and not seeing many posts from us. But one thing I just want to mention, and I know that keeping a positive mindset is really critical, but being a therapist, I also want to acknowledge leaving room for the reality of this being very uncertain. And I think if you're going to communicate anything, make sure it's sincere. So if you're one of those people that is absolutely 100% seeing the light at the end of this tunnel and is feeling really good about the future, communicate the hell out of that, because that's going to uplift a lot of people. But if you're somebody that just feels the need to communicate, don't communicate insincere positivity. People pick up on that so quickly, and it's a major turnoff. Especially when people are in like heightened emotional states, that any BS hits a lot harder. So much like getting your financial ship watertight, I would also highly recommend making sure that you're doing the emotional work that you need to do. And if that means crying it out, or, you know, staying in bed for a day just to recoup and rest, do what you got to do to let your body and your mind get rid of all this heaviness that I think a lot of people are feeling, myself included, a lot of days. And then come out of it rejuvenated and start interacting with your people again.
Thank you, Connor.
Connor, I agree with you, but I want to say that there is a time and a place for the self-doubt and the negativity, and it shouldn't necessarily be on your Facebook page. So we should all handle our emotions authentically, but what we put out, our forward-facing messaging, should be positive. So everyone should have somebody they can talk to very, very frankly about their business or their personal life for that matter, and to deal with things authentically and realistically. But your public-facing marketing messaging should always be positive and upbeat.
Sure. I'll try to find some examples. Some of the most impactful posts that I've seen have been real, and including the whole landscape of the emotional experience of this. I'm thinking of one in particular. There's a gentleman, the company named Flowfold, and I'll try to find the link and post it so you all can see it. But he went through his whole process in about, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 paragraphs. The entire, you know, emotional landscape that he's navigating, and it ended very positively, but he made space and allowed for that authenticity. And to me, that was, it acknowledged the difficulty. It left room for there to be this weight, and then ended with his positive outlook. And I just, anyway, just, I'm not arguing with you, Rita. You know a lot more about it than I do. But just my 2 cents.
Great, thank you. You know, so here is one suggestion that I have for for all of us here. I think this is a great time to create a very short document and call it, you know, my new business model. You know, and put down your thoughts. A 4-page planning document that you can visit on a continuous basis even after this, because here's my take on it. You know, things have changed and things will change, and it's not going to be back to the same thing of what we thought before this, which I think, and there's also a lot of positive to that. Even for higher education institutions like us, you know, we have had to revisit everything that we are doing, because we know that our world has also changed completely. If you really look at what is happening in the higher education space, there are a number of private colleges that will go out of business, in a short period of time. We also know that, you know, the way we have to educate, the way we have to train, and then the way we have been doing it in the past, that has to change. So we are also revisiting our own internal plan. And I think for a small business owner, my recommendation is, you know, create a 4-page document on what should your new business model should look like. You know, with or without COVID. I mean, the good situation is, right, you know, you can kind of like, you know what are the unknowns, what are some things that you had to do with your businesses to survive this, but looking at moving forward, right, what are some opportunities that you can certainly exploit, because we had to really, you know, look at what efficiency means for us, and what does that look for us, and how do we, how do we design every part of our business. And and I think this is a perfect time to do that, put something like that. And I think that can really help you, you know, beyond this, 90 days to 6 months to 1 year, something that you can continuously visit and then revise that as you go through the process. You know, we had a 3-year strategic plan for the center, and believe me, we had to revisit it, about a couple of months ago, and we had to change a lot of things. And I think it was good for us, because I think it gave us an opportunity to see that, you know what, here are some new spaces that we need to play in, which has enormous growth potential for us. So, you know, it might not be a bad idea to look at it that way. I've got a quick question for small business owners. How many of you have a kind of like 3 to 6 month cash outflow or cash flow projections? Like you say that, okay, here's what things are going to roll like. How many of you have that or keep that?
I would tell you, I know it's not on paper, right? So it's one of those things where I can tell you instinctively I know, but it's not on paper.
I can vouch for that.
It might be something worth pursuing, I mean, because we right now, I mean, we get a lot of financial hardship from different aspects, personal, business, and I think doing some kind of a cash flow analysis that is forward-looking can, I think, help. I mean, of course, it's going to change. It's not going to be accurate. There are not things. You will still get things that you don't expect, but I certainly would personally recommend that.
But Raja, it definitely helps flatten the curve of the future cash flow if you know what you're doing or you have a plan for that. I wanted to add to your 90-day plan. It sounds like sometimes like a daunting task to do that 4-page plan. Do what Stephen Covey said in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and start with the end in mind. Where do you want to be in 90 days? And then back up week by week what has to happen to get there. That would be a good way to start the plan that Raj is talking about.
Yeah, and I think, and another, my personal suggestion is that 90-day plan should be very flexible. You have to put it in such a way that, you can change you can change things quickly and you can pivot quickly. So it becomes like a living document for you, in a sense. That's something that you can visit, on week in, week out basis. And believe me, even if you spend a couple of hours creating this, I think it's worth your time, doing that, because that can have tremendous value down the road.
Hey, Raj, Ben.
Yeah.
And I would confirm what you're saying. We do a 13-week rolling cash forecast for clients. And it's when you see it on paper, and you see what the sources of your cash are and your uses of your cash are, it kind of, that discussion with the owners really resonates with them. And then it's that, hey, what if, then you go through the whole what if scenarios with them. What if this happens? What if that happens? And how do we respond? So what you don't want is on Friday that oh my God, there's a $5,000, $1,000 bill due. Oh my God, I didn't know about that. So you want to take the pressure and the anxiety out by laying it on that 90-day, 13-week rolling cash forecast. And you can, I think somebody had put it in our chat room, you're being more proactive than reactive. So I think that's a really important point.
And I think just to add to what you just said, Ben, even with the PPP program, there might not be anyone in this in this session right now. You face that problem. One major problem for a lot of small businesses when they were going to the PPP loan program was that they really did not have a well-documented financial, documents that they could submit, and that includes your cash flow projection. That basically includes a lot of aspect to it. So building that and focusing on that moving forward, I think, is very important.
Well, Raja, I can say that most businesses that I have mentored in recent years, very few of them have actual formal or even back of the napkin cash flow forecasts. As someone else mentioned earlier, it's in their head. They know it's just like, okay, I think I have enough money to go out and have a dinner or something, But to help you with the take the dauntiness out of cash flow, I've included a checklist on the chat that you can access, and it's a very easy to use template. One of them talks about cash flow. It's really a checklist for reopening your business. It can lead to, again, your 90-day plan, a 120-day plan, or a pivot if you need to. But take a look at that checklist and see how many of those things either you've thought of but haven't done, or that might still be relevant to you.
Great. Ali, Ali, you just raised your hand there, so please.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Ali from Zafras. So this might be interesting that, what happened to to my company was that during the last 30 days, we've been actually experiencing our record high sales. So that's a good news in one side, obviously, but we have to buy the supplies and all of that. So that's pushing me to the cash flow problem. And I have to buy supplies in a certain amount, so it makes sense, especially some amounts in a very, as much as possible, higher quantity, like glass supply, because glass is going to be more expensive because the government puts some like glass importing extra tax. Like it's going to be way, way more expensive than it was. So there are things like this that's pushing me to the cash flow problems, which I'm handling that, especially that I sell on Amazon. So they have like 2 week, they pay every 2 week. But fortunately, using the resources that's available, the loans, some other, funding programs, then friends. It's always good to ask friends for money. So these are some of this is my situation right now, and I'm kind of like nervous, but I'm actually very confident that it's gonna be okay. The problem is that for whatever the reason is this, maybe the online sales are high. Obviously, we have a good quality, product that's also in the account, but I don't know whatever all the reasons are. Is that going to stay the way it is? So if the online sales comes down a little bit, is that going to be the same, or what's going to happen in the future? Are people going to be willing to spend to, luxury product that like one we have? So that's like a little bit of uncertainty in the next 5 to 6 months that, might be a little bit challenging.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Ali.
Raj, let me make. Raj, can I?
Yeah, we can. We got about 2 more minutes to spend on this, and then we got to move forward here. But yes, please.
Raj, I got a suggestion for everybody too. Think about when you started your business. When you started your business, there were risks, there was uncertainty, there was unknowns, but you got into your business for a specific reason. Go back and rethink about why you got into business, what your business vision is, what's your personal vision, because I think that'll rejuvenate yourself. Maybe you almost have to take an entrepreneurial mindset again as you come out of this. Your business may have been impacted. Rethink about, well, what is your real business purpose? What are you trying to do in terms of meeting needs in the community or your customers?
Thank you.
Great. And Raj, I have one quick point for Ali. Really excited that his business is growing. What he needs is a working capital loan to help him through these short crises for product. He can reach out with the same email. I work with banks and I can help set up a working capital loan with him based on his business plan.
Is that something that you have considered, Ali? You're muted. Your mic is off.
Sorry. Yeah, sure. It depends on the fund. Wherever you get the fund, there is you need to pay back with a certain interest. So I'm trying to see what are my resources and get the best interest rates. Like I've applied for the SBA loan. There might be something come out of that. Then there is the credit cards. You can get like up to like 12 months or maybe some 6 months, 18 months of interest.
A quick example, Ali. Last year, I took one of my clients who had a $25,000 working capital loan at 10%. And through one of my banks, I refinanced them for a $50,000 loan at 5%.
So that is something, Ali, you may want to reach out to Ben if that's something that you can use. And Ben's contact information is in the chat session. All right.
Thank you, Raj.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So why don't we got about 2 more minutes here before we wrap up. I wanted to share with you one quick slide that I think would find interesting. And this is something that we have discussed within our organizing committee at 1 Million Cup. So remember that 1 Million Cup has about 180 different chapters across the country. So if you want to see how we are doing compared to other chapters across the country, the Kauffman Foundation puts the data together and sends us our attendance, where we stand regarding the other chapters. So let me see if I can pull that slide here. Here we go. So this is something that we didn't do it. The Kauffman did it. We send them our numbers, on a weekly basis. And from last October to December, you can see, where we stand attendance-wise, and it also gives you an idea on the blue line is the first-time attendees. So we break the attendees down into two categories: the total attendance, and then also who attended the event for the first time. Nationally, if you see it, average 1 Million Cup nationally averages about 32 participants every Wednesday. Now remember that not all 1 Million Cups are weekly. Some of them are also monthly. I don't know what the breakdown is. It might be more 70-30. 30% of the community might have it on a monthly basis, 70% probably on a weekly basis. And if you look at where we stand, when you compare our attendance to the Northeast part of the United States, that's our cluster. So we fall into the Northeast cluster. So we are a little bit above average, compared to the Northeast, and we're a little below compared to national. I think 2020, our numbers have certainly picked up. And I think that if these numbers remain consistent, then I think we're on track to exceed the national average. And just to give you a snapshot of where we stand. Now also remember that some communities, they're smaller communities, and the only thing they have going is the 1 Million Cup, and so they look forward to it, and every Wednesday they have a lot of people attend it. But I think attendance-wise, we are doing pretty good. We started the event last year. This is our second year of hosting it, and our numbers really hasn't fallen when we moved the event to Zoom. Actually, matter of fact, it has picked up. So I just wanted to share that with you to see where we stand. All right. Now, any announcements before we leave here? Anybody have an announcement?
Well, I always do, you know that.
Come on, Rita.
Hey everyone, we're doing coffee talk. It's tomorrow from 11:30 to 1. I'll put the information in the chat. But what's important for you to know is that I've been doing coffee talk for 15 years, and it's a platform for discussing and comparing notes with other small business owners. There's a topic for each session, and this is a great place. There's no presentation. I moderate the conversation and get everyone involved. And this is a great place to talk about what your challenges are and what you want to overcome for your small business. And of course, I have a marketing and public relations slant because that's my area of expertise. So I welcome you all. What happens sometimes is that by the time we get the Zoom chat sent to us all, it's past registration for tomorrow's event. So I just want to point out that it starts at 11:30, but registration will close at 10:30 tomorrow. On a different topic, I'm a volunteer with our local TED Talks, which is tedxlehighriver.com. And a week ago, Tuesday, we had a great Zoom presentation, and we're doing it again this coming Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. So if you go to tedxlehighriver.com, the last event is still posted. The next week's event should be posted soon. We just had a meeting about it last night. Again, it's usually at 8 p.m. for about 45-50 minutes, and it's really a really great discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Rita. Anybody else?
I have a small announcement.
Go ahead, Ali.
With the help of one of the local farmers in Mukanji, we might plant some 2 to 4 acres of saffron.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and we will come up with a new honey product, chili saffron honey. It's gonna be hot honey.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I'll put that in chocolate.
Yeah. Allie,
Yeah,
you're
we
so
should make like
creative.
a chocolate saffron chocolate.
Yes.
I'm down for it. I'll give you a free saffron for it.
Good.
Roger, just tonight again, I have we were talking about planning in your 90-day plan. By Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, I do at 6 o'clock, planning and what has to happen in your business. It's free. It's a Zoom call. It's for like 90 minutes. I put the information in the chat again. Just come on and join. We get about 15, 20 people. So
Great. Anybody else?
I just have an update on businesses. Was in a Zoom meeting yesterday with the city of Bethlehem and the chamber. We're going to see some changes in terms of restaurants. Streets are going to be closed so the restaurants can expand outside. And that's also to inspire consumer confidence and cleanliness and all that, which is going to be a huge challenge for restaurants. So we're going to see Thursday and Friday from 4 to 10 on Main Street, no traffic. It's going to be closed. And Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., no traffic. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm curious to see how that's going to work.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that, Tony. We can take one more if there's an announcement. Okay, so everyone, thank you for joining us this morning. And I know that we're a little over here, but I think that's okay. Great discussion. We'll be sending the video out, the recording out, so you can download the chat if you wish to do that. Remember, we don't have a session next Wednesday, so we'll see you the week after that. And have a great weekend. Get out and do something. All right?
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.